Hello, everyone. Welcome to Behind the Helm. If you want to check out this show live, make sure you go to Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch every Thursday at 4 p.m. If you want to watch the show afterwards, you can go to YouTube. We'll have our regular show plus bonus content. If you want to listen to the show in your car, maybe in the shower, maybe while you're just chilling doing a workout, head over to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, wherever you could find a podcast, and search up Behind the Helm. Enjoy the show. Episode 44. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Behind the Helm. I'm Petty Officer Levesque. With me is nobody. All right, it's just me today, which is good. I get to be more of myself. Right? Just kidding. Welcome into Behind the Helm. If this is your first time here, welcome. Finally, you had 44 chances to be here. By the way, last week I think I said it was episode 42. It's actually episode 43, so my apologies on that. But if this is your, 44th time here, welcome, right? And if you're in here now, why don't you go ahead and like the stream, share it, follow it. All right, like it, share it, follow it. Throw a comment in there, say what's up. I'll say what's up to you. And if this is if you're watching the show right now, you're watching live, which of course is the best way to do it. We're live 4 p.m. every Thursday at 4 p.m. on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. All right, so all you Twitch users out there, you can find us there too. And YouTube users, yeah, you get it. If you want to listen to the show later, go ahead and go over to any podcast platform, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google, whatever it might be. So it is the end of the month, and what we like to do at the end of the month is just do a nice little Q&A, right? So we field in some questions, answer it for the people out there, so they can get a better understanding what the Navy is, right? I think there's a lot of questions that some people are afraid to ask a recruiter, in person. And this is kind of a cool way to do it. You can ask me. No one even has to know who you are, right? Because for some reason, if you feel embarrassed about, asking a question to a Navy recruiter, one, don't. There's really no need for that. And two, who cares, right? Who cares? Who cares of what your interests are and what it is that you want to do? Don't let somebody else dictate what you would like to do in your life. So just make sure, if you haven't followed the podcast, you go ahead and follow that now. So I did put out in the Page's story, you could go in there and ask your question. We did get some questions in there, and we're going to go through that. But before I do that, it's time to pay homage to our wonderful Eagle, who's here with all his friends at this point. There's a lot of things that we've given to him at this point, and it is spring training right now. So, we got the good old Navy baseball, which is oh, there we go. You can see it a lot better now. Good old Navy baseball. I think it may have been upside down when I showed that. Come on, focus. There we go. And hopefully it doesn't fall. Maybe Mario will make sure. So yeah, so we'll put that right there. If there's any baseball fans, go ahead in the chat. Let us know what your team is. If you're a baseball fan, me, clearly Massachusetts. Big time Red Sox fan. Yeah, more of a Celtics fan, to be honest. Not really like too into baseball, but anyways, let's get into some of these questions here. There's some good ones. Probably gonna go through about 5 or 6 of these. And if anybody who's watching has any questions that they want to ask or any input, go ahead and do that. So let's see. One of them on here that I seen was, where was it? It was up here a little bit. Oh, okay, yeah. One of them was about sending letters. They had heard that sending letters while you're in boot camp always only happens on Sundays. So let me give you the idea of how it works with letters, right? So, are you gonna have your phone with you in boot camp? No, you're not gonna have your phone with you. You're gonna ship it off. You ship it away. I've heard rumors, and I haven't got clear clarification on whether or not there's like a locker or something you could put your phone in so you don't have to ship it off. I'm not entirely sure if that's true. All I'll say is when I was there, you had to ship it off. You shipped it with all of your belongings, pretty much that you brought with you, besides like, your photo ID and your wallet, stuff like that. Stuff that was like important that you didn't need to ship off. But no, you won't have your phone, or you won't have, you're not getting on Facebook, stuff like that. So letters are the way that you're going to communicate, and you pretty much have any time to write your letter. You can write letters, when there is downtime. It's not like, oh, we're doing something, let me stop and write a letter about this real quick. No, there will be downtime where you can write letters. Sometimes I would write in my rack, and there's actually a mailbox you could drop the letters in, and they go out whenever, and then you receive mail pretty regularly. I wouldn't say every day there's mail, but almost every other day we were receiving mail. And that's really up to your family or your friends on how much they want to write you back. But encourage them to write you back. Very important to you kind of getting through boot camp. I mean, letters were, I think from my wife, who was my girlfriend at the time, I think there was about 19 to 20 letters. Could have been more. I mean, I had like a whole notebook filled with letters from her, so definitely didn't feel like I was out of the loop. And honestly, it was cool to like get the letters and then know like what was going on in the real world, because you are kind of like you're in like a bubble. So what's going on the outside world you're not too aware of, unless the people tell you what's going on. So one of the letters I actually got, it told me about the new Drake album. So I think it was, at the time, the little mixtape he did. If you're reading this, it's too late. So I missed out on that release, but I knew about it. So right when I got out, that was the first thing I listened to. Heard about a trade for Isaiah Thomas when he was on the Celtics, courtesy of the wife. Some people would send newspaper like clippings, so it was pretty cool. But definitely you're able to write letters more than just on Sundays. But Sunday is your downtime. It's holiday routine. So like that's where you get the most time to yourself. So I mean, you can write out like letters on letters on letters. So I guess I could see why people might say that, but no, you're given time throughout the whole week to write letters. So that was a good question, because some people are concerned about will I be able to talk to my family? You will, right? If anyone has been to boot camp and who's in the chat, you can either confirm or deny what I said there, or if you got a cool little story about a letter you received, or maybe somebody getting in trouble from a letter, that happens too. Go ahead and put it in the comments there. Moving on to the next question. Right, everyone's favorite time at boot camp, and like a lot of these questions are about boot camp. I feel like that's everyone's giant concern with a 4-year contract, is the 10 weeks out of that 4 years is about boot camp. I understand, because it's like, okay, I'm jumping into something completely different, and it's very unknown. I've only heard stories of it. But boot camp it just goes by like that, right? Even it still doesn't feel like that long ago I was in boot camp, and I've been in 7 years this year. So, anyways, what happens during P days? What kind of medical tests do you go through? Okay, P days. P days are processing days, and it's pretty much known as like the worst time during boot camp is P days, which I could see why some people may say that, because there's a lot of hurry up and waiting. There's a lot of new things that you're learning, and they're just trying to make sure that you're actually fit for boot camp. That's like the main point of processing days. It's kind of like so when you do enlist, you go through MEPS, the Military Entrance Processing Station, and that is where you process for the military, and they make sure you're actually qualified medically and physically to do it, and legally. It's basically MEPS on steroids. You're gonna go through a lot of the same tests that you already did, but you're going to get your immunizations. There's people from all over the country that have germs that you have never been exposed to. So you want to make sure that you're not getting super sick from it. So everyone's going to get the same immunizations. So everyone's on the same page. If that's a 1-day thing where that happens. And then if you have any dental work that needs to be done, they will do that too. I had to get a filling. Some people had to get their wisdom teeth pulled. But yeah, P days are about a week and a half to, I want to say a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks. Maybe not, maybe less than that. But they're definitely the building blocks to what boot camp will be. There's not many tests that you actually go through. Someone said, I want to be a sailor. All right. I mean, that's easy. Just give us a call. But so yeah, P days, that's pretty much what it's like. Just get through it. Once you get through it, then all the fun stuff really starts. All right, we got another one here. Best advice for buying a car while in service. Man. Yeah, I mean, I feel like, I think we talked about it before, how like everyone like buys a car once they get done with A school or boot camp or whatever. And I mean, obviously, some people need vehicles. Like, not everyone had a vehicle back home that they could just bring back with them. So that makes sense. But a lot of people end up, getting cars that, at 19 years old, maybe you wouldn't have been able to get, right? Out in the civilian world when you were working at, I don't know, like Taco Bell or Arby's, or you were working on the farm or whatever. All right, you probably weren't able to drive around a Camaro. Okay. So the reason is because you're going to have a good amount of money on your hands for the first time in your life. You end up making close to like $4,000 to $6,000 while you're actually in boot camp. You'll just have it because you're not going to spend it really while you're there at all. So you'll walk out with that money. In A school, you're not driving. There's no bills. You're living in the barracks, so it's another point in time where you're really saving up a lot of money, and then you get out to the fleet, and now you're like, dang, I need to have a car. And a lot of the places that are around military bases know that you at 19, 18, whatever, young age, have this money that you've never used before. You never had that abundance. And some people take advantage of that. And it's really unfortunate. I don't think there's enough training about that. Like initially coming in, like, hey, look out for these dealers that try to get you on their payment plans. You're gonna have a bank that the Navy has called Navy Federal. if you want to opt into it. And Navy Federal has great loans, and they're not going to gyp you. You're not going to be paying crazy interest rates like you could at these other places where, yeah, we'll give you a great deal on this car, but it's going to be like 12 to 13 to 14% interest. So your car payment's out of control, and no one really understands that because they just want to drive this Camaro because it's really cool, right? So be wary of that. I would say, if I were to buy a car, if I were to do it over again, because the first car I bought actually was a used car. It wasn't even that new. It was like at the time it was a 2010. Well, I bought it in 2015, 2010 Honda Civic, but I didn't really bring anyone with me that knew cars, and I knew nothing about it. Ended up getting a pretty crappy deal. So my suggestion would be, if you're buying a car in service, I would say use that money, make a down payment, and get a loan from Navy Federal or wherever. Tell them you got cash on hand. You're not going to go through them. And find yourself a used car. Because you're going to be making more money as you go in the Navy. And you'll be able to get a better car at some point, especially if you put a down payment on it. You could get that thing paid off quickly. Now you don't have to deal with a crazy car note. And it'll just be better that way. But I mean, by all means, if you want to buy a brand new car, I mean, nothing's stopping you. You do whatever you want. And you actually will be in the position to do that. And there's some people that do it the right way, and there's some people that don't. That's the beauty of it. Everyone is still who they are, right? And you'll see some people not be able to handle the money like others, and it takes them a little while to understand that. But if you're smart in the beginning, it's going to play out tenfold for you later on in your military career or even after. Awesome. So that was a good question. Once again, if you're on here, go ahead, like it, share it, follow the stream. If you're in the chat, say what's up. Fields, I see that is Fields in there? If Fields in there, say what's up, Fields. Fields, I want to know what car you bought. If you're in there, that you bought when you first got in. Be interested to hear that. Let's go over to another platform where I got some questions. Take a look. All right, we got one here that says, what's the main benefit of the Navy? That's a very general statement, right? It's a very general question, but I like it because it's kind of getting to the point, and it's what we always say, what is it about the Navy that's different? I think that's kind of what the question is. If I'm wrong, let me know. I think the main benefit of, all right, man, there's two ways to look at it. It really depends on what your situation is and which one of the benefits would be the main benefit for you. But I'll say, generally speaking, the main benefit is travel. I mean, there is no branch that will travel like the Navy. And I think even the other branches would have to agree with that, just because we could get put literally anywhere in the world. And, we don't just fly to where we're going. We actually ride a ship over there. So on your way there, that's when you stop in other countries. I mean, you're really going to get an opportunity to see places that no one ever really gets to see. I always give the example of me going to South America. There's not many branches that get to go to South America. But that was somewhere where I was able to go. And it wasn't for anything that some people could deem, conflict related. Like, it wasn't whatsoever. We were literally just changing home ports. And because we changed home ports, I got to see 3 countries. And, that's an experience that I don't think I'll ever be able to get again. I don't know when I'm going to go to Peru ever in my life again. I would like to go, but you know, not really. That was never really on the list, but it was something I got to see that, you know, that kind of like is something I'll take with me for the rest of my life. You know, the places you get to go, the places you get to see stick. And I think the Navy lifestyle is something, well, how would I say it? Like the Navy lifestyle is a lot of cultural experience. You're gonna go everywhere. You could go all through Europe. You can go through, like I said, South America. You could be in Africa. You could be in Australia. You could be in the Philippines. You could be in Japan. You could be in the, uh, you know, in the UK, which is still Europe. But pretty much anywhere you could think of, you can go. So there is a lot to see. There's a lot to experience, and I think it's kind of what the Navy would give you if I was to say what the main benefit of the Navy is. And then beyond that, I mean, it kind of goes for all branches, but you know, just kind of accelerating your maturity. I think you're going to be put in a position where you are responsible for million to, you know, tens of millions of dollars worth of equipment, and you're going to be very young and given that responsibility. So you have to be mature about that. You're going to be thrown into a new situation where you have to adapt, and there's a lot of people that you're going to meet that don't ever get out of their situation, that don't ever try to broaden their horizons and see new things and meet new people. They're just, you know, they're hometown people, and that's the way they like it. And you know, however someone wants to live their life is how they want to live it. But when you live life a little bit limited, you're gonna have, you know, limited experience. And the only way you can grow as a person is by challenging yourself. And if staying in the same town your entire life, doing the same type of work your entire life, being around the same people for your entire life, you are never going to know what your full potential is. And that's just how it is. The Navy will put you in a position where you will realize something different about yourself. And when you come back home, you'll realize that. You'll realize that you are different than who you were. Still the same you at the core, but different in the way you handle things and the way you look at things and the way you respond to things. I think would probably be the biggest benefit. And I think all branches would agree that that's probably what their experience was too. So, great question. Long-winded explanation. I do like to talk. Let's see. Let me put another one up here real quick. This one's quick. Oh my god. All right, Facebook on the ship. I'm about to deploy and wondering, will I be able to be on social media on the ship? Yes, you definitely will be able to go on Facebook and talk to your significant others and your family and your friends. You'll be able to communicate with them practically on a daily basis. As long as, you know, you got an open computer you can get on and talk to them, and, you know, you're not in some crazy dead zone where they don't have internet. You'll be able to speak to them. Whether, and even if it's not Facebook, I mean, it could be through email. So, you know, you can write your little statuses about, like, what your life is like on the ship and everything, and as long as there's nothing crazy in there and talking about, you know, what you're going to do and where exactly you are, right? There is some sort of OPSEC to it. So, certain things that you can't send and stuff through email and Facebook. So I'm not gonna tell you what that is. You can just use your imagination, right? So be careful when you're on that because it is monitored, right? We got another question here. Let's see. Just trying to open it. How do people become Navy SEALs? Is that the only special warfare? So good question, right? Navy SEALs. If you wanted to become a Navy SEAL right off the street, let's say you're not in the Navy, if you want to be a Navy SEAL, you could do that. But you have to meet ASVAB requirements, number one. And then number two, you got to meet physical requirements. There are certain scores you need to get through a physical standard test, or if that's what it is, it's PST. You need to be able to hit certain numbers. So what would happen is you would come in the office, you're like, hey, I want to be a Navy SEAL, right? Boom, take your ASVAB. Hey, you qualify for SEAL. Great. Go down to MEPS. You're going to pick a job in the Navy as kind of like, your backup. And once you do that, then you start working out with a special warfare coordinator. And then you'll work out with them several times a week. You'll do a PST at least, I would think, once a month, maybe even more, and try to hit certain numbers. Now, there's two sets of numbers you can hit, right? And this is a swim, 500-yard swim, a 1.5 mile run. You have to do a certain amount of push-ups, sit-ups, and pull-ups. You have to be able to do those. I don't have the exact numbers in front of me, but there's two sets. There's draft minimums, and then there's auto-qual numbers. Now, draft minimums, if you hit that, great. Well, you got to hit it twice. Hit the numbers twice, you get put into a draft. And the way the draft kind of works is like, okay, well, where are your numbers at? Right? Are you kind of in the higher end of your numbers, or are you in the lower end? Right? If you were to draft somebody, you would probably want the best of the best. But let's say you're a stud, right? You're a killer. If you can hit auto-qual numbers, you get the contract right then and there. You get the SEAL contract. Your ship date will probably change, and that's what you do. Right? If you want to become a SEAL, that's the first step. After that, you got to be able to get through, pre-buds and buds and everything else that goes with that. But you got to get through this first step first. And then the second parts of that question, is that the only special warfare? No. There's EOD, explosive ordnance disposal, air, which is air rescue swimmer. There's diver, Navy diver, SWIC, which is special warfare. Man, I never get this one right, but it's a reconnaissance. I want to make sure I say this right. Special warfare combatant craft crewmen. There we go. Right, they're on the boats, little riverine boats. And I don't think I was forgetting anything else. Yeah, because SEAL's the other one. So those are all the different ones you can go into, and they all have different numbers. And some of them vary. Like, you got to be a better swimmer, obviously, as an air rescue swimmer, because you're jumping in the water saving people, versus probably EOD, right? Explosive ordnance. But there's other things that you need to do more of on one side and less of on another. So, if you're open to any of them, pick whatever you want. And they all have certain bonuses and stuff like that. But talk to your recruiter if you want to know what that is. Let's see. See if I can find one more here. I like this one. This is the last one. All right. Uh, describe your jobs community. My jobs community. I like this. Um, so my rate, in the Navy, there a job is called a rate or a rating. Um, a lot of the military, it's MOS. Um, so I'm an electrician's mate, and I'm in engineering. So, a lot of our lifestyle is more like inside the ship. Obviously, like we can go out to like flight decks, and all that, and be around the planes and stuff because there is electrical work to do on there sometimes. But for the most part, we are, you know, below decks working on that equipment to keep the ship running. Um, being an engineer, you do feel like you're very much, um, essential to what's happening because there's literally there's almost every single thing that you use on the ship, gives that good ego boost. But I'd say like for us as electricians specifically, like we're all pretty like I'd say we're all like generally a little bit, smart, kind of more easygoing. Um, be a little bougie sometimes, to be honest with you. But I mean, it's a great rate. It's an awesome rate. It's well respected. It's needed. Some people think like we're working magic when we do stuff, and it's really not that difficult. But it is a great rate, and yeah, I would recommend it to pretty much anybody. So if you want to be an electrician's mate, let me know. We'll see what I can do for you. If there's anything out in the field, let me know. If you guys do have any questions, feel free to message the page. This is gonna do it for today's episode. Thank you guys for coming in. I know this was different. It was just me today, and that's fine because I'm happy to be here. You got anything for us? All right, cool. Thanks, guys. Come back in next Thursday, 4 p.m. Make sure you check out Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you want to get podcasts. Check out Behind the Helm. All right. Peace.